They said I didn't fit. Not emotionally, not physically, not even in the spare guest room. That's the text my own mother sent me the night before our annual family retreat. No call, no discussion. Just a cold, 6-word message. There won't be enough space, Evelyn. I stared at my phone, sitting in my small apartment, while they all packed their designer bags for the weekend. Every single year I paid for the Airbnb. Every single year I arranged the food, the rental van, the activities. This time, I was excluded. And without warning. If your family ever made you feel like an outsider, like, share, and subscribe. You won't believe how Evelyn flips this story upside down. I wasn't shocked they tried to push me out. I was just shocked they finally said it out loud. There's just not enough space, Evelyn. Like I was luggage. Extra baggage. My cousin Brianna even had the nerve to comment on the family group chat. Well, Evelyn wouldn't really vibe with the hot tub crowd anyway. And everyone laughed. Even my brother Tyler, who I once lent $8,000 to so he wouldn't lose his job. What they didn't know? I wasn't the same Evelyn anymore. They still saw me as the quiet one, the girl with the cheap sandals, the one who worked late shifts at the diner and never had much to say. But for the last 2 years, I had been quietly building something massive. Every night after work, I studied, saved, invested. I built an entire booking platform for luxury eco-resorts, and it took off. No one in my family had a clue that I now owned equity in over 7 boutique retreat properties across the state. So, when they said there wasn't space for me, they were technically right. There wasn't space in their rented lodge because I had already bought the entire resort they were heading to. And what I planned next would make sure no one ever laughed at quiet Evelyn again. The moment their SUVs rolled up to the check-in gates, I was already watching from the suite above the lobby, behind tinted glass. They came in loud, Aunt Karen dragging her overpacked Louis Vuitton suitcase, Uncle Raymond arguing about who got the lake-facing room, and my brother Tyler pretending to be the trip organizer again, like he always did. Not one of them noticed the resort's brand new sign, Whisper Pines Retreat, now under new ownership. Because to them, they still thought I was just Evelyn. Inside, the front desk manager, who worked directly under me, greeted them with the kind of warm corporate professionalism that masked the chaos I had ordered to unfold behind the scenes. "Welcome," she smiled. "Just a small update. There's been a change in the reservation." That's when the confusion started. My mother stepped forward, tight-lipped, clearly annoyed. "Change? No, this is booked under my niece Brianna. Everything should be ready for the Simmons family." The manager glanced at the screen. "Right. But it appears the previous reservation was voided. The entire property has been reserved exclusively by another guest for the weekend." Their faces tightened. "That's not possible," Brianna snapped. "We booked this 4 months ago." The manager turned the screen toward them. And there it was. My name in bold letters. Evelyn Simmons. Owner. "What the hell is this?" Tyler barked. "Evelyn?" My mom blinked fast, then scoffed. "No, not our Evelyn." But I had already stepped into the lobby, dressed in all black, confidence in my stride, not a single cheap thing on me. "Oh, it's me," I said calmly, "but I heard there wasn't space for me, so I made sure that's true. For all of you." They froze. Pure silence. I could feel their discomfort radiating like heat. What does that mean?" Aunt Karen asked, trying to laugh it off. "It means," I said, "that I now own Whisper Pines. And this weekend, it's mine. All of it. The cabins, the lake, even the wine cellar Tyler keeps sneaking into every year." Brianna's face turned red. "You can't be serious." "Oh, I am." I nodded. "You didn't have space for me in your hearts? That's fine. Now you don't have space in my resort. They tried to negotiate, pleaded, even offered to pay double. But the manager already had the final orders. I'm sorry, she said with a polite smile. This weekend, all amenities are private. Guests are not permitted without written approval from the owner. And guess who didn't give them approval? As they stood outside in disbelief, I watched them argue. Tension rising, bags on the gravel. My mom glaring at Tyler. Brianna accusing everyone but herself. That moment, that chaos. It was mine. But I wasn't done yet. Because the next part of my plan would hit harder than just locking them out. I didn't want to just kick them out. That would be too easy. Too quick. No. They needed to feel it. The same kind of rejection, exclusion, and embarrassment they'd casually thrown at me for years. So while they scrambled in the parking lot trying to book last-minute alternatives, I made a single call. Activate the Serenity package, I said into my phone. And with that, the resort staff set the plan in motion. Bonfire by the lake, sunset dinner prepared by a private chef, and a string quartet flown in from the city. I watched from the balcony as the staff rolled out fire pits, set the candlelit tables on the dock, and carried chilled champagne bottles to the private deck. All for one guest, me. It wasn't about luxury. It was about the symbolism. I wasn't the invisible one anymore. I was the host now, the architect, the power they pretended I didn't have. An hour later, my cousin Tyler tried calling me, 10 missed calls, then a text. Evelyn, this is ridiculous. Just let us in. We're family. I stared at it for a moment, then typed back. So was I. They ended up driving 20 miles to a roadside motel. And the best part? That motel was one of the cheapest in the area. 0 lake view, no air conditioning, and definitely no spa services. I had already called around and booked out every other decent place within an hour's radius under fake names, just in case they tried to pivot. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Completely. But I wasn't doing this for revenge. Not entirely. I was doing it to take back power. For every time they looked through me, for every time they called me quiet, awkward, too intense, for the birthday dinners they forgot, for the group trips I only found out about from Instagram stories. This was my moment, and I wanted them to taste it slow. That night, as they sat in a dingy room eating vending machine snacks, I was sipping rosé on the dock, barefoot, with soft music playing behind me. A staff member approached me with an envelope. It arrived this morning, she said. I opened it. Inside was a wedding invitation, Brianna's wedding, 2 months from now. The same cousin who once told me I'd probably end up alone. And guess what the venue was? A luxury retreat, owned by my company. Now I had a decision to make. Crash the wedding in style, or let them pay me just to walk down the aisle. Either way, the game had shifted. But what I did next at my resort would flip the family dynamic forever. The next morning, I told the staff to prepare one last surprise, a family-style brunch served on the main deck overlooking the lake. Enough food for 15 people. I had name cards printed for every single one of them. Mom, Tyler, Brianna, Aunt Karen, Uncle Raymond, all lined up neatly across the long oak table. The plates were polished, mimosas freshly poured, steam rising from buttermilk pancakes and truffle eggs. But every chair was empty, except mine. I sat at the head of the table, sunglasses on, the summer breeze brushing through my hair. It was silent, except for the sound of the staff moving gracefully around me. I asked one of them to take a photo. Just me, alone, with all their names around me. The caption practically wrote itself. Plenty of space this year. I posted it to the family group chat. No words. Just the photo. Within seconds, chaos exploded. Mom, what is this? Brianna, are you serious? This is cruel, Evelyn. Tyler. You're acting like a villain. Chill. But I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was showing them what exclusion really felt like. What it meant to be shut out. Not just from a room, but from the table itself. My phone buzzed again. It was a private message from Brianna. Please, can we talk? I replied. Sure. Come to the front gate. 10 minutes later, she showed up. Disheveled, makeup smudged, eyes wide. Look, I know we've said some stuff. But this is too far. She stammered. Mom's crying. Tyler's freaking out. You're being mean. I leaned against the railing and looked her in the eyes. Do you remember what you said about me last year? That I'd be single forever? That I should just stick to cats and crossword puzzles? She looked down. No answer. Do you know how that felt? Coming from someone I once babysat and protected from bullies? Silence. Then, I didn't mean it. I stepped closer. But you did. You all did. Every time you left me out. Every time you laughed behind my back or cut me out of family photos. You meant it. She swallowed hard. So what? What now? I paused, then handed her a gift bag. Inside was a contract. A rental agreement. The exact venue she booked for her wedding. You want that luxury resort? I smiled softly. You'll have to rent it. From me. And I charge double for family. Her jaw dropped. You wouldn't. I already did. Then I walked away. Slow, calm, free. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't angry. I had just grown. And the silence that followed me wasn't awkward. It was powerful. But just when I thought it was over, a final twist I never saw coming was already in motion. 3 days later, after the resort weekend ended, I returned to my condo, expecting peace, closure, maybe even a little loneliness. But instead, I found a letter taped to my front door. No stamp, no envelope. Just folded paper, with my name written in rushed, familiar handwriting. It was from my mom. Evelyn, we didn't realize how far away you'd gone until we weren't invited to follow. I'm not writing this to defend what we said or did. I know we messed up. I know I did. I saw you as a helper, not as a person. That's on me. I never asked what you were building. I never celebrated your wins because I didn't know they existed. I was too busy looking at what you lacked instead of what you were quietly creating. We didn't give you space, not just in a room, but in our hearts. And now, you own the whole resort. That's poetic. If there's still room left, not at the retreat, but in your life, I hope we can earn our way back in. Love. Mom. I stood there frozen. I wasn't sure if I should cry or rip it in half. Part of me felt like she only wrote it because she had to, because I had the power now, the upper hand. But another part, the small piece of Evelyn that still believed in family, knew that maybe, just maybe, they finally saw me. The following weekend, I did something unexpected. I invited them all back. Not to the resort, not to show off, but to my home. No private chefs, no violinists, just brunch in my kitchen. Mismatched mugs, homemade muffins, and this time, everyone had a seat. Tyler hugged me. Brianna cried. My mother didn't say much, but she didn't have to. The silence between us wasn't cold anymore. It was real, honest, human. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about rewriting the story. Because once, they said there wasn't enough space for me. Now, I had more than enough. And for the first time, I chose to share it.